Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to another talk about horror television. Tonight we're discussing one of my favorites, The Hitchhiker. This episode is titled Cabin Fever. In the episode, we meet a man named Rick who can't help himself when it comes to sleeping with married women. I don't know about you guys, but I can smell the comeuppance in the air already. After he wraps it up, he goes down to the dock. He sees a pretty lady uncovering her sail. Her name is Miranda. Rick offers her some help, and Miranda offers him a job. Her husband Cameron comes out from under the deck and welcomes the cabin boy aboard. I gotta say, Cameron, played by Jerry Orbach, shines in this episode. He really gave us an outstanding performance. When they arrive at their home, Rick has to lug all of their bags up into the house. Cameron stops his wife from picking up her bags. That's why they hired a cabin boy. They appear to be on a remote, mysterious island and have an out-of-this-world compound. This house is freaking gorgeous. We learn that Cameron loves to grow mushrooms in his cellar. He tries to get Rick to try one, but he refuses. Cameron really loves a good mushroom. They're outstanding creatures that thrive without light. They're much more reliable than people, he says. We also learn that Cameron is a film director. He made a couple horror pictures, but Rick considers him a washed-up scrub. He thought his film was opaque. Then Cameron yells at his wife.
Where the hell is it? I know I put it in here somewhere.
Darling, is there something I can help you find?
Shut up. I'm perfectly capable of finding my own booze.
Cameron, don't you think it's a little early to start drinking?
I thought I told you to shut up. You drink tequila, houseboy?
There's some serious tension between these characters. It's quite an interesting dynamic. Rick is shockingly lippy to Cameron, considering he's hired help. Rick calls him washed up, which sends Cameron outside to check his traps, a bit heated. Miranda is to make sure the houseboy works for his wage. She knows what he has to do, so she brings him downstairs into the cellar. The funny thing about that is that Rick is horrified by tight spaces. On top of that, he locks them inside. The cellar door slams shut and it doesn't open. Rick panics, but there's a key and they can get out. In the stairway, they hear the whistling and humming of her husband above them. He's walking around up there. Rick makes a move and they wind up doing the dirty in the dirty stairway. Later on, as she's doing the dishes, Rick takes her wedding ring and tells her that he doesn't exist. From now on, you see no one but Rick. Miranda goes over to the cabinet and pulls out a gun. She tells him this is their way out. Her husband gets too drunk and beats her, and just as she says this, Cameron calls for help. She quickly puts the gun back and goes outside to her husband. Rick takes the bullets out of the gun and puts it back. He then goes down into the cellar and takes the key out of its spot. He drops the key down into a bottle of clear liquor. Later that evening, they're eating the fresh game they caught in their trap. Cameron notices his wife lost her wedding ring again. She tells Rick to give the ring back, but he doesn't. He tells her that he has a plan for the old man. When they get back to the table, Rick asks his host for some fine champagne, and Rick wants another bottle of tequila, so Miranda goes down to find some. Cameron makes Rick his perfected martini recipe. He says a martini is a celebratory drink of his generation, and he's celebrating because he's back in production. Rick wants to know what the story is about. He starts to tell the story, but Miranda wishes he wouldn't. The story is an analogy for how he's on to them and their cheating ways. He holds a knife to Miranda's throat. Things really escalate when Rick grabs a gun.
Come on. Who were you to warn me? You're nothing. An inept gigolo.
Shut up, you no-talent drunk!
Both of you stop it right now!
Drop the knife!
You dumb son of a bitch. It's empty.
It appears it wasn't empty, my dear boy. Shook by this, Miranda breaks a bottle over his head. He He wakes up in the cellar with Miranda shooting an empty gun at him. Once she sees that he's conscious, she exits the cellar, shutting the door that locks behind her. Rick starts panicking. She tells him to relax. He doesn't look too great. We learn that Cameron is still alive. It was all just a bit of movie magic. Miranda tells him she really enjoyed it and to hit her up if he's ever in town again. She tells Rick to be down at the dock by 9 a.m. so he can flag down the ferry.
I showed him where the key is. It may take him a while, but he'll remember.
Don't go! Don't go!
The bottle he put the key in is missing. It was the bottle of tequila her husband requested at dinner. He's trapped in there. Rick met his match in this episode. His tricks finally caught up to him when that couple was way ahead of him. What did you guys think of this one? I'm very pleased with this, and I can definitely rate it a 10 out of 10 for the series The Hitchhiker. Like all the content I cover, I highly recommend watching the full episode, especially of this one, if only to catch the witty dialogue of Cameron and the outstanding acting chops on Jerry Orbach. He's stellar. Give me your hot take down in the comments. Let me know what your favorite episode of The Hitchhiker is, and maybe I can cover it soon. Big shout out and thank you to the patrons who made this video possible. For just a few bucks a month, you can help out this channel tremendously. If you're of age, I also recommend that you fix up a martini and head over to my merch shop. I designed some neat shirts, hoodies, and by far my favorites, the Spooky Creepy Club mugs. God, I love them. But that's all I have for tonight, my dear ghouls. I'll be back on Saturday for some more spooky horror television. Stay spooky.